Hey friends, so here I am again, out alone in the middle of nowhere, trying to navigate course through nature and through my life. It's been a while since I've checked in with all of you out there. I wrestled with doing this video because it's hard for me to talk about, but the last couple podcasts I put out have been not as woo-woo or spiritual. I think more in lines with kind of mental health, and some of it is dealing with the spiritual aspect of mental health challenges, or the mental health challenges that come with some of these spiritual journeys that we are on, and just life in general. And I've been debating talking about this because I've been struggling publicly, but I've shared so much of my journey in this fashion. I decided I want to share some of what's kind of been going on with me. But I'm out here, before I get to that, I'm out here on this trail. It just rained the other day like crazy, and it's this really gross, swampy, mucky trail that has a nice payoff at the end. I did a video on this trail years ago where I walked to a creek to kind of reset myself. If you remember, I had to cleanse my energy, and I went and found this creek, and I jumped in it and was all scared. It was pretty cool. Anyway, so I felt the call to do that again today. I'm up, adjust my angle here. I'm up in the Poconos, and I wanted to come out here and just reset. Things got pretty bad for me, I guess, about a month or two ago. The school year was really hard, just dealing with some other stuff in my personal life, and I felt like I was losing my mind, just from so much stress and fatigue, and I was dealing with really bad racing thoughts. They just was driving me crazy. I couldn't quiet my mind. I just could not. I was having these anxiety attacks and these panic attacks, and I was really desperate. And I've been in therapy for years, but it just wasn't getting me through it. So I had to make a really difficult decision, because about a month ago, I was really falling apart. It's crazy to watch your own mind spiral, to watch your thoughts run away from you. You feel like you can't stop it, but to also have that part of you that knows this is not okay. And that's what I was dealing with. Like, I knew how I was thinking wasn't okay, but I couldn't stop the thoughts. And it's the equivalent of, like, if you ever got sick and you're vomiting, and you know that, okay, this is just my body doing its thing and it will pass, you know. I knew that eventually my mind would slow down, but it just wasn't happening. So I had to go see my doctor, and I went in a direction that I swore I never would, and it's hard for me to admit it. I think it's important that I admit it publicly. And I went on some medication for my mind, for my anxiety, for my depression. And that stuff scares me. Those meds have scared me for a long time. That kind of a mucky part here. It's like, where do I go through the swamp? I've worked around mental health for a very long time. I've been an emotional support special education teacher for about 15 years now. And when I was a police officer, I worked with a lot of people. I responded to a lot of calls of people having a mental health crisis. And it's just been a soft spot in my heart to help people through those times. Managing crisis. And I realized I was in a crisis of my own, and it's not fun. And I was so just desperate for it to end. You guys can see what I'm walking through here. Just like a gross swamp. I was so desperate for it to end. So I got put on meds. Or I asked to go on meds. I didn't get put on meds. I requested. And I mean, it takes 4 to 6 weeks for them to really start working. But within a couple of days, the chatter in my mind slowed down. And that was such a relief for me. To just allow my mind to slow down and stop. I was panicked, like fight or flight panic for a few weeks, and it just wouldn't go away. I thought I heard something in the woods. So I took these meds. I think it's helped me to calm my mind a little bit, but I'm still not where I want to be. Things are still a struggle, but I'm better than I was. That's progress, right? Anyway. So I figured, what a better time. The other challenge is I've just felt like I haven't had much time to myself. And that's hard. Being the father of 3 kids who I'm with all the time. It's really hard just to get a moment to yourself. So I have this moment to myself now, and I thought maybe I'll come back to that spot, look through the swamp, and do a meditation, and jump in this creek that's probably flooded right now, kind of have like a new rebirth or a new baptism or something, and come out of here hopefully feeling empowered and refreshed and a lot better about things and about my life. Because it's helped me a lot before when I did this journey. And on the way up, I was listening to a podcast about Buddhism. And I've looked at Buddhism before, and I appreciate some of their philosophies, and I think I wouldn't call myself a practicing Buddhist, but I think that I try to think in a way that's very similar to some Buddhist principles. This is gross, by the way. I'm just sinking in swamp. And one of the things, this guy gave a quote by the Buddha, and it said, learn to control your mind, or learn to control your thoughts, or your thoughts will control you. And I was like, man, if that's not exactly what I'm fighting with right now, and that just resonated with me so strongly, because I always take a lot of pride in meditating and being open-minded and being able to be calm and collected in a crisis situation. But I lost control. I'm focusing because I'm balancing on a log here. Let's hope I don't fall in. Ooh. There's a big animal over there. That's what I like about these journeys. It's just scary enough to remember that you're alive. Control your mind, control your thoughts, and they will control you. And that's really powerful. And it's a lesson that I need to learn. And I got so bad, I was hopeless. I didn't think I'd ever be able to do that. And right now I'm not. They're quieter, they're calmer. But I always talked about on the show, how to manifest, how to focus on what you want and create the world that you want, and we shape our own reality, and that's great. But I've just been hit with challenge after challenge, and after a while, I just felt beat down. And I started to believe all of the hard things that I was experiencing and the despair that I would feel. Talk about fear. Walking through this high, swampy grass, not knowing, and it's all wet, and I'm sinking. Hey, that's the journey, right? Anyway, I'm going through this, and I hope that I can get to this spot. Just relax for a minute, reflect, and maybe find some insight. The other thing that the Buddha was saying is that, happiness, looks like poison ivy, happiness is not going to come from an external source. It's got to come from within you. And that's hard for me. I'm always expecting to find happiness. I just have to learn to be happy. Talk about, it doesn't matter if you make it to your destination. It matters that you travel well. And I'm trying to capture that. I'm trying to enjoy this hike through that gross muck that I just went through. And travel well because I've made it to my destination. Despite all the poison ivy that I'm walking through right now, we're going to go a different way. I've made it where I set out to be, which is right here. If you remember a video I did a couple years ago, this is the spot. And I haven't been here since then. And it's beautiful. We just had a crazy rainstorm. And this spot right here, that's right over there. It's right where I submerged myself last time. I'm gonna go to that same spot right over there and submerge again, because I feel that as I've been developing my own intuitive and psychic practices, I have learned that running water, naturally moving water, helps me to cleanse my energy field, my stress level. And this is naturally just a natural creek that runs through the middle of the woods, through the game lands. And it helps me release things, especially because I'm scared to get into that creek. It's probably about waist deep and I'm gonna go under. I'm scared to do it. But I usually come out feeling a little bit better. And that's what I'm going to do. I'll meditate for a little bit and then I'll go home. Sitting under the wise old tree. Anyway, guys. I just wanted to share that life's been really hard. And I know some of you reached out, like, where are you? Took about 2 months off from remote viewing, but I'm back in the seat now. I'm not giving up on that. I love it too much. Just need time. I'm gonna sit here and meditate. I'm gonna jump in this cold creek and we'll go from there. All right, well, moment of truth, the scary part. Up in that cold creek in the middle of nowhere. So, good luck. I did a meditation before I went in, and as I was meditating, I kept hearing all these creaks and like branches crunching, and this is bear territory, black bear. I'm not scared of bear. I see him all the time. Not all the time, but I've seen him. But when you're sitting here by a tree, your mind starts to wander, and I'm afraid. I keep opening my eyes, but I know I got to just find a way, even when I'm afraid, to find that peace so I can meditate. So then I closed my eyes and I was like, oh, let me reach out to a friend who has passed on, who was very spiritual, and see if I can have a connection. And I said their name out loud, and like 20 feet over there to my left, a huge branch fell out of a tree and was like, poof! It sounded like something coming crashing through, so that scared me. But then when I went in the creek, you're scared because you can't see the ground. The water's moving, and then you go underwater and your eyes are closed, and I'm just having all these fears, which is what I struggle with, the what ifs. But I know I can't let fear limit the choices I make. And that is something that I struggle with horribly. And I've missed a lot of things in my life because I'm afraid of what might happen, and 90% of it never happens. I was scared to come back here. I was scared to walk through the swamp. I was scared to sit here and meditate. I was scared to jump into that creek, but I did it. And I just hope that I can take that. All right, experience over. But now I have to get out. And walking through the swamp, I just sank up to my knees, man. It was gross. And you find yourself questioning, like, oh shit, where's the trail? So I just kind of trusted my gut, and I think I'm on the right trail, but it's gross. It's skeevy. But it's the price you pay, right? For an experience sometimes. You pass the fear. And what did I say earlier? Travel well. It's not about the destination. So I'm making the best of it. There's a lot of swamp. It's grossing me out. That's okay. I'm traveling well. You do the same, my friends. Be well. Be safe.